Welcome to Frank Teaches DevOps. All right. Thank you once more for your time. And in today's video, we shall be discussing how to access the internet from an EC2 instance within a private subnet. We all know that um, an e- a virtual instance, be it a virtual instance or a standalone PC, um, without public IP address cannot access the internet. And yeah, cannot access the internet. However, in today's video, we shall be addressing um, that behavior, okay? That behavior where we could access the internet, all right, from from a private subnet, from a private subnet, but that instance cannot be accessed from outside the network. But that instance can only make a call. The instance can only make a call to the internet, but a call can come to the instance from the internet. Right now, to actualize that, there are two major concepts. All right, one is called a NAT instance. So this NAT instance is specific to AWS. AWS NAT instance, and the other is a NAT gateway. All right, so NAT is network address translation. Okay, so we're going to set that up and then see how it works. So here is my architecture. Here is my architecture. This is my architecture. And from the architecture, let me label this properly. This host is a bastion host. Here is a bastion host. This is a bastion host. All right. There's a bastion host. Then we also have, sorry, this is a private host. Pri- Private host. Okay, so here's a private host, and here's a bastion host. I will explain the bastion and a bastion, what a bastion host is. So this is the architecture. So from this architecture, we have the VPC. So in my VPC, I have on my right, I have the public subnet, and also I have the private subnet. So this NAT instance has to be deployed inside of a public subnet. Okay, so here is, let me give it a color, green, yeah, and green. Okay, so we have this public subnet. In this public subnet, we have a bastion host. All right. We also have a private subnet. In the private subnet, we have a private host. Okay. Now on my far left, we also have another public subnet. In that public subnet, we have a NAT instance. Okay. Let's start off with the bastion host. What's a bastion host? So a bastion host is the host that is used to access other hosts that are not exposed to the internet, right? So in this context, we have this private host. This private host is not exposed to the internet, right? So the only way we could reach this private host is through the bastion host with the help of what? SSH. In as much as they share the same what? VPC. Okay. So now let's see what we have. What we have here. So you can see prerequisite. It is understood that we've already created a PVC, a VPC. We already have a private and public subnet. We already have a private and public route tables. Then we've already set up the necessary subnets to route table associations. Then we've already created an internet gateway for public route table. This prerequisite is what is needed to actualize all of these. Now, what I shall be taking care of in this video is creating a version host within the public subnet. So let's do that briefly and we hop back. Okay, let's do that briefly. Let's do that briefly. Okay, so I'm going to be creating the version host. Let me call it a version host. Okay, it's based on Amazon Linux 2. All right, instance type T2 micro. Then I have a simple key pair. Um, David keys. All right. Then the network settings. Bob VPC. And mind you, this version host is going to be placed in the public subnet. So I have a public subnet of pub sub 1, which I've created already. Public subnet 1, all right? So public subnet 1, sorry, okay, pub sub 1, all right? So I also have a security group, which I have. So I have a security group, David SH. Okay, keep let me change something. Or high keys. Okay. All right. So security group is this. I think that's all. Configuration is this. Then launch the instance. So we are now creating the version host. So as you can see, we just created a version host within the public subnet. So within this public subnet, we have created the version host. So next on the list is create a private host within a private subnet. So let's go back there, refresh. There's running. So if I click on connect, let's test it. EC2 instance connect. While it's up, let's go and create the private subnet. So I'll call this private host. Okay, so based on Amazon Linux as well, T2 micro, keep my key pair simple or hierarchies. Okay, edit the network settings. So Bob VPC, then this is going to be in a private subnet. All right, so let me take private subnet 1. All right, private subnet 1. Okay, select existing security group. So I'm going to take David this and storage. Yeah, that's all. Launch it. It's been launched. So view the instance. So you can see our version host. This is our version host. All right. So from here, I think I can ping google.com. Perfect. I can ping google.com. That's great. So these are version hosts. So let's go to back to our EC2 instance and look for the private host is being created. So you can see there's no public IP. So meaning that this instance cannot cannot be accessed from outside, all right, externally. Okay, cannot be accessed from the internet. Okay, all right. So let's check the version host itself. Version host has a public IP. Okay, all right. So let's see how we can access this private host from the version host. So if I go to here, I go to connect, then go to SSH clients. Okay, I have these OI keys, all right? So I'm going to create these OI keys first. I have these OI keys. So what I will do is I'm going to open my local terminal because I have that locally. Go to downloads, downloads, then cats or high keys. So sorry, let me use Vim or high keys. Oh, uh, it's open somewhere. All right, it's open here. So cats, use Vim, copy this guy, copy it. Okay, great. Now come to your version host. Okay, and create a file, ohio keys.pem. All right. Then in this file, paste the contents of your pem key. So it has been pasted. Escape, save and quit. Now change mode 400 on Y keys. Change the permission, right? Great. So the next thing we need to do now is trying to connect from the version host to, look at our diagram. Connect from the version host to the private subnet using what? SSH. All right. So where's there? Okay. And here's the connection string. Copy the SSH connection string. Come over here and paste this guy. Okay. And let's hit enter and see to ask for fingerprint. Yes, that's okay. Yup. So you can see I'm now inside of the version host. So let's confirm. This is so I'm now inside of the private subnet. Let's confirm. This is the IP, private IP of the, you can see, of the private instance. All right. Look at the private host. So that's the IP of the private host. Okay. That's the IP of the private host. So from here, if I try to ping Google, I won't be able to ping Google, okay, because it's not routable. Okay, you can't go outside of outside of the network. Okay, but with the help of NAT instance, all right, we should be able to route traffic through the route instance, all right, to the internet, all right, through the NAT instance to the internet. Okay, so now we've fulfilled all of these up till try pinging. We've fulfilled that. Create a NAT instance. The next on the list is creating what? A NAT instance. So it's can ping. All right, so let's exit from the private host. So if I do a pinging on the version, I should be able to reach the internet from the version because it is on a public subnet. Great. So let's go back to our EC2 instance and see how we can create a NAT instance. So click on launch instances and okay, give it a name. Let's call it NAT instance. Perfect. Now this instance is based on an already defined AMI, all right, already defined image. So just type NAT. Want to type NAT, hit enter on your keyboard. So this is on community AMI. So if you go to community AMI, we should see different NAT images, all right, images. So you may have to look for the latest one. The latest one will be, this is July, as of July, and 2022. This is as of September, okay, 2022. So let me use this one. So click on select. That's it. It's selected. The key pair is okay. We have a key pair. Let's still use Ohio keys and the network settings. So this has to go in a public subnet. All right. So the public subnet, I've used pub sub 1. So let me use public sub 2. Public subnet 2. We don't have IP address enabled here. So can just put it auto enabled. So let me just use public sub 1. All right, that's fine. Then create security group. We can create a security group or we can add, let's create a NAT security group. NAT SG. All right, call it NAT SG. Um, no way. Excuse me 1 minute. Yes, create a net. NAT. Uh, there's supposed to be something. All right. No, 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 no. Create security group. NAT SG. All right. So in this NAT SG, I'm going to create a rule SSH. I'm going to add other rules. I'm going to add HTTP, HTTP, and custom CIDR. We use the CIDR of the VPC, which is this. This is the CIDR of my VPC. Okay, I'll add another rule of HTTPS. HTTPS, where are you? HTTPS. Okay. Then the CIDR is also 10.0.0. So this is a CIDR block of my VPC. That's all. So that's all. 8 GB. That's fine. Now click on what? Launch instance. Okay. Launch instance. So the instance is now being created. So let's go and view that instance. So viewing that instance, we now have what? The NAT instance. So as you can see from the diagram, we now have these set up. However, there's no connectivity yet between the private host and the NAT instance. So we need to create that connectivity between the private host and the NAT instance. So to do that, let's go to VPC. Okay. Um, so this is my VPC. My VPC is Bob VPC. I have subnet. So the subnet I've used is public subnet 1, private and private subnet 1. Okay. Now the route table. So I have two subnets um, that I attached, that I associated to different route tables. I have two route tables, one for the private subnet and the other for the public subnet. All right. So I'm concerned about the private subnet. So in the private subnets, let's look for subnet associations. You can see I have two private subnets, all right, on the private routing table. Okay, so let's go to routes. All right, now what we want to do now, we want to connect. All right, we want to connect. Let's diagram. We want to connect this private subnet to this NAT instance. All right, so let's go back to route table, private routable. Okay, so on the private routable, I'm going to click on edit route. So click on edit route and then add route. So the route I'm going to add anywhere. So 0.0.0.0/0 goes anywhere. Then what kind of destination? What's my destination? All right, my destination is an instance. So in this context, it is a NAT instance. Can you see it? This is a NAT instance. So once that is added, click on what? Save changes. So the changes has been saved. So if I look at my routes, I can see that I have anywhere targeting my what? My NAT instance. Okay, my NAT instance. So that's all. So let's go and check if we can still access the internet with this. So if I try to SSH into there and try to ping, still we can't access the internet. There's one more thing we need to do. Okay, let's go back to EC2. So this is the NAT instance. All right, so there's something called check destination. All right, let me show us that feature, okay, of NAT instance. Click on the NAT instance, go to actions and go to networking and click on change source destination check. Change source destination check. All right, so you have to stop this destination check for traffic, for your NAT instance to be able to send and receive traffic. All right, so if this is a NAT instance, you must stop source and destination checking. A NAT instance must be able to send and receive traffic when the source or destination is not itself. All right, so I have to stop it because this is a NAT instance already. So stop it and click on what? Save. Now it has been saved. So let's go back and check if we can still ping. So if I try to ping again, still I can't ping because on the security group associated to the NAT instance, we don't have ICMP enabled. So we have to go and enable ICMP for this request to go through. So let's go back to that instance. This is the instance. Go to security group. All right. So we have the NAT SG. Click on the NAT SG and you're going to add one more rule. So the one more rule would be add a rule. That rule would be all ICMP IPv4. All right, all ICMP IPv4 to this guy. Um, let's check that out. Okay, so if I save this rule, let's see. Okay, and I come back to the EC2 instance and I try to ping one more time, you can see at this end, you can now see that we are now able to route the traffic from my private instance through the NAT instance to the internet. So you can see I'm able to reach the internet from through my private instance. So let's look at the diagram. So you can see now I'm able to route traffic from the private host through the NAT instance into what the internet, right? To the internet. So with this setup, I've isolated my private host from the internet, all right? From the internet, meaning that access from the internet can come into the private host, but this host can actually reach the internet. I hope you've enjoyed this setup. You've enjoyed the setup, and so yeah, so this is what you do most of the time, especially when you have critical mission services running on your private host. You don't want to expose those services to the internet. All right. So all you need to do is just to set up a NAT against these private hosts. All right. But there's a drawback with the NAT instance. The drawback with the NAT instance is, what if this instance goes down? Because this is an EC2 instance. What if this instance crashes? So the moment this instance crashes, it means that there won't be any access to the internet anymore from the private host. And for that, we use another concept called the NAT Gateway. So NAT Gateway is the best and recommended solution for for implementing such behavior. All right, such behavior. So in our next video, I will show us how to implement a NAT gateway so that we can have internet access from a private host. Thank you, and see you in my next video.